Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Amir, and I'm the co host for today's webinar, Alhamdulillah. And we have with us Sheikh Ahsan Ansari. A quick introduction about today's event, inshallah. So, today is Friday, mashallah. It's Friday, March 20th, 2020, and it's 11 a.m. here, Eastern Time. The masjids are closed, Friday prayers are cancelled. Friday remains the best day of the week, and we want you to know in today's short workshop, which is going to be just about 20 minutes, inshallah, what are the best deeds you can do today. And we're glad that you were able to attend this. Inshallah, whoever's not able to attend this, you can watch the recording. So, Bismillah, Sheikh Ehsan Ansari is the regional manager for Furqan Project Canada. We're so glad to have him here. Ehsan is a regional manager, and he has a bachelor's degree in Islamic sciences from Medina University and also a postgraduate diploma in Islamic theology. Ehsan is also passionate about empowering Muslims and especially young Muslims and making sure they have the right mindset to succeed in this dunya and the akhirah. Bismillah.
Okay, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. I just want to make sure that everyone can hear me. If they can just press a one, press number one, or give me some shout out, inshallah, from the the chat on the side. There we go. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. I thought it's important that we discuss, of course, on Friday. It's Friday today, and subhanallah. Hopefully, you're not going for Jumu'ah. I know there's some masjids that have a Jumu'ah that's taking place, maybe one or two, to be honest. But majority, alhamdulillah, are not going to the masjid. It's not. It's sad, but of course, we're following the principles of our religion. لا ضرر ولا ضرار. That there's no harm to be done, and no harm can be given or done to you. So, in the same way, we are not harming other people, or we're not harming ourselves as well, and following the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I thought we can do some slides and discuss some of the things we can do during this day on Jumu'ah. We have over here, alhamdulillah, I just want to talk about the what is what is Jumu'ah, right? What is this Friday day that we every single week we have? And of course, it goes back to the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam he said that the best day on which the sun has risen is Friday. It's a very interesting hadith. He says, on it Adam was created, and on it he was made to enter paradise. On Friday also Adam was expelled from paradise, and the last hour will take place on this day, right, on the Friday. So this day of Jumu'ah is a great day in which it happens every single week. Every single week, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع. That, oh, you who believe, that when the call of Jumu'ah is made, uh, to go and rush towards the dhikr, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, names of the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to leave off any business transactions. But subhanallah, of course, we are not able to attend Jumu'ah, and that is why we want to discuss, first of all, this hadith. Okay, what is this hadith? This hadith, as mentioned over here, is first of all, Rasulullah ﷺ calls it the best day. The best day that the sun has ever risen was on the Friday. That every single Friday, this is the best day of the week. And you'll see over here that I brought two opinions over here. Hopefully, you can see my slides. Can you see my slides, everyone? Press number one if you can see the slides. Yes, okay, alhamdulillah. So you'll see that we have two opinions here of what this hadith means, and I want to just show you the way the scholars have discussed these hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And it's very interesting that he says that Qadi Iyad, a very famous Maliki scholar, he says that this apparent meaning of these mentioned matters are not mentioned for their virtue. So he's saying that you know, the expulsion of Adam alayhi salam, the day of judgment, the establishment of the day of judgment, all of these things are not to show virtue, but to show you the importance of the day. Okay, and these events that are mentioned about will take place of great events, so that the servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can prepare good deeds to gain the mercy of Allah and to avert His wrath. Okay, so one opinion says that this hadith is talking about what? Is talking about the great events that have happened on Friday to show the Muslim the importance of the day so that they can prepare themselves with good deeds. The second opinion is of this Allama Abu Bakr ibn al-Arabi, radiallahu anhu, rahimahullah ta'ala. He said that all of these events are virtuous. Look at this great scholar. What does he say? He says the expulsion from Jannah, it is the reason of the existence of his progeny, of Adam alayhi salam, and this great progeny amongst the believers and those who are amongst them. And then he says that the existence of the prophets, messengers, the pious, the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, all of this will happen. Why? Is because of Adam's expulsion from Jannah. And then he says that he was not banished from Jannah like just like Iblis, Shaitan, but he's like a traveler that will complete some tasks and then return. And as for the day of judgment, it is the hastening, which the day of judgment meaning of what is mentioned in the hadith, is the hastening of the reward of the prophets, the pious, and how they can be honored on the day of judgment. So you'll see that this hadith over here, the point is that Friday is the best day of the week, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose this day specifically for the ummah of the Prophet. Okay, so even though we are the last of nations, He's given us the first day. Friday, and then for the Jews it's Saturday, and then the Christians it is Sunday. So one thing we can do, and of course there are many things we can do, but these four things we'll be talking about inshallah are the four things that have been brought from the hadith of the Prophet. Number one is sending salawat upon the Prophet. Did you know that the best deed that you can do after completing any wajibat, on any obligatory deeds on Friday, is the sending of salawat upon the Prophet ﷺ. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidun Majid. You can see this hadith over here. Okay, it is similar to the first hadith. This one is mentioned in Abu Dawood, but there's a difference in the narration towards the end. He says over here, so invoke more blessings on me on that day, for your blessings will be submitted to me. The people asked, Ya Rasulullah, how can it be that our blessings will be submitted to you while your body has decayed? He replied, Allah the Exalted has prohibited the earth from consuming the bodies of the prophets. Okay. So Nabi Sallallahu specifically mentioned sending salawat upon himself, upon the Prophet Sallallahu. So the best deed, whether it's better than reading Surah Kahf, it's better than reading extra nawafil or the sunan, all of these things, the best deed after the Friday on a Friday is to send salawat upon the Prophet ﷺ. So a person should try their best on this day. And of course, there is proof of this as well, that in this hadith, which shows that the Prophet ﷺ is alive in his grave in a manner that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. Okay, just like the shuhada are alive, of course, it doesn't mean he's a living body that's in his grave, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but that prophets are alive and in the life that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen for them based upon this hadith. And of course, just like the shuhada are alive, those who are martyred in the true path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the same way, the prophets are also alive. Salawatullahi salamu alayhim. The second point is recitation of Surah Al-Kahf. Okay, recitation of Surah Al-Kahf, this hadith over here, which says that whoever recites Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, he will be given a light between both Fridays. So imagine this, that he recites Surah Al-Kahf on Friday, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you this light that will guide you through your week. Okay, through your week, in your affairs, this is a light that will be given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you think about it, there are many lessons. We can do an entire series of seminars on just the benefits of Surah Al-Kahf. But one point is that just if we can just sum up the story itself of the name. Of course there are many stories, 4 or 5 stories in Surah Al-Kahf, but just the name of the surah is Surah Al-Kahf, the surah, the cave, right, the people of the cave. And what is their story talking about? It's talking about of a group of men who went against the king. Okay, a group of men who went against the king. uh, one brother is saying that the audio is not clear. Is the audio clear? Brother Amr, can you hear me?
Are you saying the concept was not clear or the audio was not clear? Um,
Okay, I'm not sure.
okay, the
Okay,
audio.
brother,
Yeah,
can
yeah.
if we can
Yeah,
leave the
and if you
questions
have
till the end.
questions, you can keep them towards the
Yeah,
end or add
okay.
them in the questions area. For now, because we are trying to We have about
Okay, so apparently, yeah, apparently, brother Ati, I think the thing is the audio is clear for the other brothers and sisters, so
and
perhaps your audio might be. You can check your speakers, inshallah. Okay, alhamdulillah. Okay, so it says over here that so what is the theme of the surah of this event? It says a group of young men who went against the king. They placed their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them the miracle. Okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made who? The people of the cave, He made them the miracle. And if you think about it, that when we place our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in whichever manner what we're doing, it of course has to be halal. But when we place our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens doors for us from places we do not even know. Okay. So we remind ourselves on a weekly basis about these themes in Surah Al-Kahf, right? Every single week when we recite this surah, we remind ourselves. And of course, I urge you to take a class, a tafsir, and perhaps we can arrange of something of the sort, inshallah, if we have more people on board, that we can go through a thematic tafsir of Surah Al-Kahf, explaining the verses. Because it is something that when we do every single week and we know the meanings of it, we can apply these meanings in our lives throughout the week, inshallah. So that was number two. Number three is anticipating the acceptance hour. Look at this hadith. This hadith by Abu Hurairah anhu narrates, the Messenger of Allah or the Prophet mentioned the day of Jumu'ah and said, there is an hour that a Muslim, his prayer, coincides with while he is standing in prayer. He asks Allah for anything except that he is given it. He is given his dua. It's a very interesting hadith. Why? Because number one, I'm going to go to the benefit. It says over here that the entire day of Jumu'ah is a day of dua. How do we know this? It's because the Prophet ﷺ, he did not say the one who seeks out the hour, but rather he says that the hour coincides with the person's dua. So a person on Jumu'ah, a Muslim making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala throughout the day, and then perhaps his dua will coincide with the time that the dua is accepted. Okay, so the entire day of Jumu'ah is a day of dua. We should try our best to make as much as dua as possible. But the scholars have mentioned many times, but I'll mention these two. These two times that possibly could be the time. Number one is when the Imam sits on the minbar until he completes the prayer. Okay. And of course, uh, we are not attending Jumu'ah, so this will not apply to us, right? But of course, inshallah, when we do attend Jumu'ah, that time when the Imam sits on the minbar before the khutbah, until he completes his prayer, this time dua is accepted. Number two is between Asr and Maghrib. And the closer you get to the time of Maghrib, the more, inshallah, the dua is accepted. The person should spend at least a good 20 minutes to half an hour making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at this specific time between Asr and Maghrib. And the time is short. I would go into the details of why did the Prophet ﷺ say, standing in prayer while Asr itself, after Asr we cannot pray. But just to keep it brief, it means that standing in prayer is actually a characteristic of the believer. It does not literally mean that you're standing in prayer. It just means a characteristic of the believer, which does this is taken from Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani in his explanation of Sahih al-Bukhari. He mentions this difference. Number four is making your intention for Jumu'ah. It's very important that we understand that we were not able to make the intention, we were not able to perform the Jumu'ah today. But if you make your intention and you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, oh Allah, if if it was not for this virus that has stricken us, I would have attended the Jumu'ah. Okay, if you make this intention and you show yourself that you wanted to attend the Jumu'ah, but you weren't able to, or you were basically stopped from attending the Jumu'ah. When a person makes this intention, and inshallah, even if the intention is not there, Allah knows best, but the point is that the person will be rewarded for the deed they cannot do because of some reason. Okay, so if a person is sick, for example, they read tahajjud every night, and they're sick, and one night they're not able to read this, pray the tahajjud, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward them for the tahajjud, even though they haven't prayed because it's part of their habit. And this gives us a point that the more habits we have of good deeds, a time might come that we're not able to perform that good deed, right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inshallah, will reward us for that good deed. In the same way that every single week we are performing Jumu'ah, and these next few weeks, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shorten time, but for the next few weeks we will not be able to perform this Jumu'ah. Inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us for this Jumu'ah. Last point is, should you perform ghusl? Okay, so of course every week we perform ghusl for Jumu'ah. But the question is ghusl performed for the Jumu'ah itself, for the Friday itself, or is it performed for the prayer? And the answer is it's performed for the prayer. Look at the hadith. It says, if one of you wishes to come to Jumu'ah, so that he should take a ghusl. Meaning that the one who comes to Jumu'ah, it is recommended for that person to perform the ghusl. As opposed to Eid. On Eid, what happens? On Eid, we perform the ghusl based upon the day and not the action. As opposed to Friday, it's based upon the action of Jumu'ah and not the day of Jumu'ah. So, we mentioned other deeds that we can do on Jumu'ah, but ghusl will not be one of them. Doesn't mean you can't take a shower. Go ahead, take a shower. There's no problem with that. But the point is, do you get rewarded for performing ghusl on Jumu'ah? The answer is no. Wallahu a'lam. Okay, and some things we can do during this time. I brought the slide up because we'll be having different. I want you guys to keep in contact with us, inshallah. We have a Facebook group as well. We have a WhatsApp group. I want if Brother Amr, if you can put the numbers as well, inshallah, for the WhatsApp and the Telegram. But one thing is very important that we are close contact with our families right now. Children in the same house and wife, and every single day we go to work. We're separated from the family, then we come back in the evening. But now 24/7, literally you're with your family. So a lot of people might be facing, some issues at home. But a person what they should do is they should plan their this time properly. Okay, have a schedule, set smart goals. Okay, something that's relevant, something that a person can achieve. Set those goals, inshallah, and try to complete these goals during this time. And prioritize your time wisely. Okay, get your work done first, and then spend some time with the family, inshallah. And that, inshallah, that way you'll be able to pass this time with patience, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Quickly, I just wanted to go over, some of the work we're doing at Furqan Project. Alhamdulillah, this webinar was sponsored by Furqan Project. And as Brother Amr mentioned, I'm the regional manager for the Furqan project. And of course, during this time, it is extremely difficult for all organizations, all Muslim mosques, nonprofits, in collecting donations. But we're asking you, inshallah, that if you can donate during this time, whatever amount you can give, inshallah, will be really appreciated. Brother Amr, if you can just give the link for the donation, inshallah. It's on our website. Jazakallah. So in the chat box, you'll see that there is a link to donate to Furqan. So whatever, inshallah, you can do. And of course, what we do is we distribute Qur'ans to non-Muslims, the clear Qur'an of Dr. Mustafa Khattab. Alhamdulillah, we've done 1.7 million copies uh, in North America, about 15,000 in Canada itself, and the rest in America. And we go through to MSAs, we go through prisons, local. Of course, right now it's impossible to do it, but we have a goal, inshallah, that we have a goal for this year. And of course, we collect donations, print Qur'ans, and then we give these Qur'ans out. And for the next few weeks, we will not be able to do this. That is why we're asking you, inshallah, to support, so that way we can meet our goal, inshallah, for this year. And of course, we've given copies to the senators of the United States of America. Each one has a copy. There's planned effort to send it to the MPs and MPPs as well. And then we have, with different Muslim businesses, with restaurants, to have a small pamphlet, a small box, sorry, and have Qur'ans in there, inshallah, to be distributed as well. And in different private schools and public libraries, we've done in America as well. We're planning for Canada as well, inshallah. So we issue tax receipts as well. So if someone can go ahead to the website and donate, we'll appreciate it very much, inshallah. So alhamdulillah, I'm 2 minutes off, but we have time for questions. So inshallah, if there are any questions.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh Ahsan. At the moment, there aren't any questions. So if anybody has questions, please go to the area at the bottom of the webinar Inshallah, you can post your questions there. If you, there are some people that joined late. If you joined late, can you please enter one in the chat so we can summarize the whole presentation for you while we're waiting for questions? Okay, Alhamdulillah. So, Sheikh
Okay.
Hassan, just a quick summary of the 5 points, if you can walk through the slides. And this is going to be recorded, and and so everybody will have access to the recording after. And for some reason, some people may not get the link to the recording in their email. As long as you join the WhatsApp group, it's an events only WhatsApp group, and it's administered by the admin. So it's not a public WhatsApp group. There are no forwards in it. It's a WhatsApp group only about events by Furqan Project Canada. So inshallah, if you join it, I hope you find it beneficial. Others have as well, and you will
We
get
have many
the link to the
webinars
recording.
coming up as well. So we have many webinars coming up. Next few weeks, inshallah. Many are planned. Different speakers, bismillah ta'ala. In fact, Brother Amr will be having one as well coming up. We will announce that as well, inshallah, soon.
Inshallah.
So I'll go quickly through the slides until we get a question. Let me go quickly through the slides first, inshallah. Number one is that one of the things you can do is sending salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As I mentioned, that it is the best deed a person can do during Friday. Okay, better than any nawafil, any qiraat al-Quran, recitation of Quran, Surah al-Kahf. Okay, all of these uh, come under. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do them. You should, of course, do all the deeds. But we're talking about in virtue, which one is the best? The answer is sending salawat upon the Prophet sallallahu Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad sallallahu. And then number two is recitation of Surah Al-Kahf. We talk about the hadith, which is on the slide. And of course, a person can recite Surah Al-Kahf on the day of Jumu'ah. On the day of Jumu'ah. And Sister Lubna, I will get to your question soon, inshallah. Number three is anticipating the acceptance hour. There's an hour that the dua is accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, it doesn't mean that dua is not accepted at any other time, it doesn't mean that, but the chances of dua being accepted are much greater at these times. And of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only knows which hour that is, but the scholars have tried to see the different ahadith from the statements of the Salaf and others, and they've come up with different times, but we mentioned two. Number one is that when the Imam sits on the minbar until he completes the prayer. Of course, we are not attending Jumu'ah, so this does not apply to us this time. But the second one is the time between Asr and Maghrib. The time between Asr and Maghrib, that this time as well is the dua is accepted. So a person should try their best to make dua. Number three or number four is to make your intention for Jumu'ah. When a person makes an intention, even though they haven't prayed Jumu'ah, okay, and they have a habit every week to pray Jumu'ah, but they're not able to. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will still reward them, inshallah, for that deed, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. So let's get to the questions.
So inshallah, we
So
have three questions. Let's start with the first one. Which Quran translation do you distribute, Sheikh Hassan?
so we have I don't have it with me right now, but we have the Clear Quran by Dr. Mustafa Khattab. Okay, it is one of the best, if not the best, translation in in English translation. Okay, so we distribute this in North America. Alhamdulillah, Dr. Mustafa Khattab, he's very supportive of the project. Alhamdulillah, we have the complete rights to his publication, so we publish and we distribute as well his Quran, the Clear Quran. So yes, that is the translation we use.
And the second question we have is from Sister Lubna. Recitation of Surah Kahf. Is there a recommended time to recite it? Is it better on Thursday after Maghrib or at Friday on the Jummah?
See, I was when I was doing research for this webinar, I was trying to find if the scholars have mentioned reciting it at the night of Jummah. So the night of Jummah means what? Thursday night. Okay. Of course, the day follows the night in Islamic calendar. So the night comes first, and then the day comes. So technically, Jummah starts from Thursday night, Maghrib, but Allahu Alam, I did not come across if you can do it on Thursday night or not. But what I know for sure is that the day of Jumu'ah, any time of the day, that it can be recited, inshallah.
So basically, there's no recommendation on a time, but they can recite it after Maghrib on Thursday or anytime on Friday, before
So yeah,
Maghrib.
so the thing is, the hadith says who recites on the day of Jumu'ah. So does this apply for the night time of Jumu'ah or not? So I could not find uh, statements of the scholars that according to my basic research that I did, but I could not find a statement from a scholar saying that it can be recited at the night of Jumu'ah. So let's stick to what the hadith says, inshallah. I'm not saying it's wrong, but just I could not find it during my research. So the safest thing is during the day of Jumu'ah, so after Fajr, all the way till Maghrib, you can recite the Surah Al-Kahf, and it should be fine, inshallah.
Okay, Jazakallah. That way you answered the questions of Sister Lubna and also Brother Faris. The next question is um, from the top. Can Muslims purchase a copy of this translation if they want to? Now we are short on time, so we'll just take four more questions and we'll close. Go ahead, Brother Sheikh Hassan.
It can be purchased. The website is orderaquran.ca. Okay.
Okay.
If you can post it, inshallah, brother.
Yeah, I'll
On
post it,
Other,
inshallah. So then,
orderaquran.ca. They can go there and
the
purchase it online.
okay, mashallah. Brother Farhan is saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh in the questions area. Maybe you want to say wa alaikum salam to him.
Okay. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, I know him very well.
Oh,
Alhamdulillah.
mashallah. Okay, so we should read four rakat zuhr at home. This is from question from Brother Al or AI, artificial intelligence. I don't know which one it is. So I think it's probably Brother Al. We should read four rakats of zuhr at home, better in jama with family. Is that correct?
Very good question. It's good you mentioned it. Yes, your readings for Dhuhr at home. You're not praying Jummah at home. Okay, so because the conditions differ for Jummah, we're not going to get into that. But you'll read 4 rak'ah of Dhuhr at home. And of course, you read your sunnahs and all. Just as you're praying Dhuhr, you pray Dhuhr at home. And you can pray with Jama'ah, it's fine. Even if you're yourself and your spouse, yourself and your children, it's fine. So long as the children are, of course, past the age of 7, this is considered a Jama'ah then, inshallah.
Okay, and then there is question by Brother Al again. And we have three more questions, and inshallah we'll wrap up with this. If this pandemic leads through Ramadan, can you give us a picture of what to expect as far as Taraweeh goes? I may be jumping the gun,
Yeah,
but just
so
wondering.
we hope it doesn't happen like that. But if it does, then Tarawih can be prayed at home. You can take a Mus'haf, a Quran, and recite from the Mus'haf. That's totally fine as well. But yeah, it can be prayed at home. It's just Tarawih is just like Tahajjud, but of course it is a prayer that is specific for Ramadan. So a person can take a Quran in their hand, recite, and then pray, finish the Tarawih, 20 rak'ahs at home, inshallah. Yes.
Person used to give sadaqah on Friday. Can he put that sadaqah aside with an intention of sadaqah and disperse it later? What is your suggestion?
I would say give it online, right? There are many avenues to give it a sadaqah online. If it's the many organizations are accepting online donations, so you can on Friday you can go ahead and give it online. It's the same reward, so long as the deed is done.
Okay,
Fine,
mashallah. Then
inshallah.
that comes us to the last question for today's workshop. Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum from Brother Shakil. First ruku of Surah Kahf or the whole surah to recite?
So the hadith mentions to recite the entire surah, and there's another hadith which says that من حفظ 10 آيات من أول سورة الكهف عصم من الدجال. أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, that the one who memorizes the first 10 verses of Surah Al-Kahf, then they'll be protected from Dajjal. So this hadith is talking about the protection from Dajjal. But the other hadith which we're talking about on the day of Jumu'ah, right, is what? Is to recite the entire surah. And of course, if someone's not able to, let's say if they recite as much as they can, it's better than nothing. You shouldn't leave a deed if you cannot complete it in a complete fashion. You try your best to read as much as you can. And inshallah, you hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards you. And of course, people have different capabilities in recitation. Some recite slow, some recite, but you try to recite as much as you can, and inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you accordingly.
We just got
Inshallah.
one last question that just came from Brother Shayan. Is there a special dua we can make for coronavirus? And we'll wrap up with this, inshallah.
Yes, there's actually we're planning another event in which we will be going through a book of one of the scholars from Medina. It's a 16-page book, very very short actually. So he mentions different du'as. One du'a I can mention is Bismillah alladhi la yadurru ma'a ismihi shay'un fil ardi wa la fis sama wa huwa as-sami'ul alim. That's one. Okay, this can be found in the du'a book as well. And the number two is La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu min al-zalimin. This is what Yunus alayhi salam recited in the stomach of the whale. right? في بطن الحوت. So we recited this dua, and of course, we are in a situation where we are in dire need as well. So we should recite this dua as well. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. And بسم الله الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء في الأرض ولا في السماء وهو السميع العليم إن
Okay,
شاء
inshallah,
الله.
you can go ahead and wrap up.
Yes. Okay, inshallah, we'll conclude over here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Before I leave, please do join the WhatsApp group, join the Telegram group, like our page on Facebook, inshallah, and we'll be having more events, so stay tuned. بإذن الله تعالى سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Wa alaikum
السلام عليكم
assalam wa
ورحمة الله.
rahmatullah.
جزاك